Time to talk some WNBL, though. Great weekend for the Dandenong Rangers, and their coach, Larissa Anderson, joins us now. Thanks for your time tonight, Larissa.
Hi, guys.
Must have been a good feeling waking up this morning after a win and claiming top spot.
Yeah, for sure. It wasn't the prettiest of wins. BP can vouch for that. He was there, but what do they say? A win's a win. You take it. We're a little bit undermanned still, so and we did try a few different things in the game on Saturday to Adelaide. I thought Adelaide were fantastic too. But it is wonderful to be in top spot, knowing that we've got so much improvement to come.
We've got Rowan Short in the studio as well, Larissa. You called a timeout with 4:42 gone in the first quarter. Could you sense that you were a little bit off?
Yeah, I was a little annoyed. It just wasn't. Yeah, you could just tell that we had that flat feeling again, which we've been prone to have at times. So yeah, it was just a little bit of bring it back in and try and get back on track with what our goal was.
Larissa, you've been talking about in the media and in your post-game press conferences about the inconsistent concentration, and then there's glimpses of brilliance, but then periods of where you're shaking your head and scratching your head. What have you been doing in practice to address some of those issues? What sort of strategies as a coach have you been using to help rectify some of those things that are going to be important in the back half of this season?
Yeah, look, we do lots of different stuff, Shorty. It's just a case that, I just challenge the girls to really go hard at each other, which I don't really have to ask them twice to do. They do train really hard and they really push each other. So I think it's just a matter of throwing different scenarios at them and just going over and over what we need to keep working on. And we do have a lot of young players in this team playing key roles, so you are going to get that. And the kind of game style we play is very up and back. So we do really push teams and love that running game. So you're going to get mistakes when that happens. So I'm more than happy to encourage that when they're exploring different options and possibilities. So I've already got my head around it. I'm more than happy for them to make a mistake if they're really trying stuff. It's just teaching them to recognise when they've tried that a couple of times and it hasn't quite worked out, to pull it back out and run a set. And they're getting there. They really are. I think the fact, as I said, that we're sitting in top position and have been with that Nat Novosel for the last 7 games, who is a huge ingredient, a really key ingredient for this group. I think that's really exciting. So I think there's way more positive than anything else. And it's fun now because we're fine-tuning stuff that I know we can do, and we just need to get better at it.
So as this season evolves and you as a team get better, and you've got to add Novosel, as you say, how are you going to reintroduce her into the group without unsettling, I suppose? What is a good form line for your team with 3 straight wins?
Yeah, look, I think she'll settle in pretty nicely. She's already been back on court a fair bit the last 2 weeks, just doing little bits with us as she can. So we've definitely just introduced her back in very slowly so that we can hopefully have her at full strength going into Christmas and beyond, and for that last business part of the season. So she's been right there with by the girls' side the whole time, hasn't missed a beat, and you wouldn't know that she's been out with the way she looked, but she was out there with us tonight. She looked fantastic. So I've got no doubt that she'll fit in really beautifully very quickly. I don't have any dramas about that, and the girls are really excited to have her back out there at the moment.
So you've got 2 games this weekend. Could she be back as early as this weekend?
Yes, we're hoping. So we're hoping to be able to introduce her at least to one of the games, and I don't know which one that is yet. We'll make that decision as the week goes on, so I'm not going to give that away yet. But I'm hoping that we'll just see how she pulls up after tonight and tomorrow and Thursday, and we'll go from there.
So you've got Sydney at home, then the Spirit in Bendigo. Does that mean it's a lighter week on the practice court?
No, yeah, it's no. You do obviously have to be smart, but there's a fair bit to work on, and the girls obviously always look better when they're head down, bum up, and just kind of keep going. But Wednesday and Friday will obviously be really light days, and very mindful. We've got 5 incredibly tough games to lead us into Christmas. So 2 double weekends, including Adelaide and Perth away the following weekend, and then back to Sydney the week after. So very mindful of the load and recovery and whatever over the next 3 weeks for sure.
Larissa, off the SMS, someone's texted in to talk us through and wants to ask a question about the profile of the women's game in Australian basketball at the moment. And there's been a little bit of whispers about potentially the NBL and the WNBL going into a co-branding exercise whereby the WNBL could leverage off the short-term success that the NBL has had. Do you see any specific pros or cons to especially your club, the Dandenong Rangers, in that partnership?
Look, it depends. I think we've already taken a really fantastic step in the right direction, finally having a full-time general manager in Sally Phillips, and she's doing wonderful things, and she's made it really clear that it would be her first decision and change made to put us straight on TV if she could. It's not like there's reasons that we can't. And I have to say that there's been some great steps forward with media coverage, which all the clubs are doing a wonderful job independently, and also the WNBL really getting behind what we're all doing. So, look, I think kudos goes to what the NBL are doing. Clearly, they're in the right direction with what they're doing. The crowds speak for themselves. I think the ratings are doing really well, and I think the games are quite a spectacle. They're showing some great basketball. So whatever the NBL is working, and I can't see any negatives if that was thrown the WNBL's way. That's for sure. I'd love to hear them out as to what they have in stores. I suppose, as long as it meant that for someone like the clubs that don't play in the big arenas, that doesn't change, because I'm not a huge fan of women's games playing in big arenas with like only a tenth full. It's not great atmosphere. But other than that, I think whatever the NBL is doing, if we could jump on board that, it would be really exciting.
So could it be a case of, say, playing back-to-back games but maybe not at the same venue?
Possibly. I mean, obviously, I haven't given a great deal of thought because, for obvious reasons, we're in the middle of a season, and obviously we're all just trying to do what we can to deal with the situation we're in now, and everyone's doing, I think, a wonderful job at that. As I said, Sal's doing some really fabulous things. So I think it's just a case of, if I gave it some really serious thought, off the top of my head, I just don't like those empty venues. But I'm sure that there's things that they can do to help with that too.
How do you feel when you see, I mean, you played the game for a long time and played it at a very high level. How do you feel when you see some of these other leagues now encroaching on what really was, the WNBL space, with women's basketball sort of taking now a back seat in terms of maybe some of the salary structures that are in place and the services that are being provided to some of these up-and-coming? Do you feel like there might be a bit of a talent drain potentially on the upper end of the WNBL?
Not really. I mean, if you're talking like the netballs and the AFLs, is that what you mean? Like I think the girls that are crossing over a little bit into the AFL are the girls that really have finished WNBL, really, other than Erin Phillips. But even then, it doesn't really clash. They're only just starting. But really, for me, I think it's really exciting that there's now such choice for women to get out there. And obviously, AFL, the women's AFL, have got the AFL right behind them in this one to see how it goes, and good on them. I think they've done a wonderful job, and netball, again, has done wonderful things with what they're doing. I just think with the population that we've got, so many choices for young girls and women to go out and play. At the end of the day, look, whether that kind of has an impact on us a little bit, that young girls are looking at it going, why would I play basketball when netball and AFL are doing that well? I don't know whether they'd really think that. At the end of the day, no matter what would happen, no one could have stopped me from playing basketball when I was growing up, because it's just in the blood and you love it. So, and I just can't see basketball going away. Everyone's working too hard, and we've got too many passionate people that will just not let it happen. So you're talking about an Olympic sport that women in particular have got such an amazing history and success with. None of us will let that happen. So I'm not too worried. You just have to be happy for what an amazing job those other sports are doing right now. And hopefully basketball, and I have no doubt we're heading back in the same direction that we started.
Yeah, and it's a global sport as well. Just back on the Dandenong on Rangers, Larissa Anderson's joined us, the coach of the Rangers. The performance of Lauren Scherf, 21 points, a career high, 12 rebounds. The Lightning had 13 in total. How much have you seen her develop?
Yeah, look, she's working really hard, and she's got all of us right behind her. We all put a lot of work in with her one-on-one and within the team, and all sorts of we've had little targets for her to meet this season, and she's finally, I think, really turned a corner on the weekend. A lot of it's just a matter of these young players actually believing that they can do it. And I mean, she's coming up against some of the best five men going around, in the likes of Tolo, and you've got Ruth Ham, like so many wonderful imports in there this year too. She's a lot younger than a lot of them and a lot less experienced. So she's getting this great opportunity to go out there and play big minutes and go right up against them. A lot of it's a belief thing for her, and couldn't be more proud of her to actually get the reward for that on the weekend. But it was purely she just went out there and just grabbed the game by the scruff of the neck. And it was really, I was very excited to see her do that. We all knew she could do it. So now it's about doing that consistently. But yeah, really wrapped.
So Larissa, this is your second season at the helm of the Dandenong Rangers. You've obviously won some championships at SEABL level. The honeymoon period is over.
Yep.
In your second year as the coach, what are you doing differently? And do you feel the pressure a little bit of bringing another WNBL championship home to Dandenong?
No, not at all. I'm enjoying every moment of it, and I think I'm getting better and better, as like anyone does when they're in the job. You learn as you go a little bit, and you learn very quickly what works, what doesn't work. And I've got a great group there, and I allow a lot of feedback and make sure I put things in place. And I'm one of those coaches that try things out a little bit, and if it's not good, I'm not going to I kind of move on and try something else. And so I think we've got a really good system in place where we've got things that are catered to the group really well, which is why you see them. I think they embrace it all and take everything on and don't sit back from a challenge. So I think I'm learning. Even though I knew these girls very, very well, I'm getting to know them better and better as to what makes them tick. And you pick up on things when they're having a bit of a down day. We all know that as a coach, I think it's just about as much as being a psychologist as what it is anything else. So just learning how to keep your group together and tight. And I don't think I don't think it's a secret that I wear my heart on my sleeve, both as a player and now as a coach. I'm right out there with them every step of the way and will do anything for them. So I just think I'm getting better at that balance between the two, and I'm enjoying every minute of it. It's fantastic.
Well, you've got a fan in Scott Davis from Cranbourne North off the SMS. He must somehow know you texting in his full name, but he says, Larissa Anderson, hashtag best coach in the WNBL by a long way.
Thank you.
Well,
not biased at all.
You've got some fans out there, and you've got your Dandenong Rangers on the top.
I've got one at least. That's good.
Well, if he's the chairman of the Dandenong Rangers, that's a good one to have.
That's true. He's not. So yeah, maybe I've got two fans. Hopefully, no. Thanks, Scott.
Well, Scott, you need to get on the board. Larissa, as I said, top of the table at the moment. You're going well, and thank you for your time tonight.
Thanks, guys.